And product design is just so interesting field that if you get into this, you will get to know what is happening behind it. Suppose you're working in an e-commerce company, you would get to know how product is being shipped. For a user, how easy it is. Abhi, if I need sugar, I can simply type sugar
and you get it.
And it will deliver next day or maybe in a few hours by Instamart or some other process. But nobody knows what is happening behind. Right. So who is working on that? There are people who stitch those things. So I think understanding, having a curious mind and understanding what and how you can solve a problem will take you to this field. And if you have a little bit inclination of creative inclination, that is a plus point. If you know, people do. I have met many people who have asked me this question. I don't know how to sketch. I am not good at drawing. How can I end up in design field?
Hello everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Intellipaat podcast. Today we are going to take a deep dive into the realm of user experience and interface designing. And for that purpose, we have a very distinguished guest with us who is currently working as product designer at Paytm and has previously worked with Flipkart. We have with us Mr. Siddhartha Rahi, and he is going to take us through the intricacies of digital product designing as well as how he got into this field. So let's dive into this conversation. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Intellipaat with Mr. Siddharth. Hello Mr. Siddharth, how do you feel today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. We have so many questions for you and I'm sure a lot of people would like to know about your career journey.
Right.
Can you please brief us about your career journey, how it started?
Oh, I'm glad to answer that and thank you for having me here. Design career, right? I mean, currently I'm working as a product designer and the journey has been a very different. I mean, generally people think that people plan to get into design field. Yes, people do that, but I didn't have that plan. I was into research, like school time onwards. I used to participate in a number of competitions places. So one of them was called NCSC, National Children's Science Congress. So I have been working as a junior child scientist at number of places and did number of projects also. Then I was totally happy with the fact that I'll be ending as a researcher, like full-time researcher. But the moment I saw the books, I decided, no, this is not my place. I can't do like BSMS together and get that degree and then land up in this. So I asked one of my professor, he told me, go and search about the product design. So for me at that time it was sufficient, just tell me a word. He triggered me with the word called product design and I started searching and I found number of colleges are providing product design courses at places. And then I found it's so confusing. Let's do a career counselor. Go to a career counselor. So I'm from Lucknow, and I've been to been to a career counselor. So that there, I've given a separate exam that they have they take some test. Over there, I found that product design is a field. They suggested me 3 best option, and on the top it was the product design. So I thought, okay, let's give a chance, and I then started looking after that. And then from over there, I found that okay, an IDs is something college where I can go and learn the product design because there is a product design over there. And that time my orientation was to solve problems. It could be like a drainage problem, it could be any system level problem. I did not have that much of idea. But later on, what I found that okay, some things like that I have to get into the NID first. So for everybody, for every parents, the way their objective is to get their kids into IIT. Even my father had that same, but I convinced him to get into this. Yeah. So after 12th, I gave my exam for NID, which is in 2014 around. And that time, I did not crack the only NID which was in providing the undergrad courses, which was NID Paldi and NID Ahmedabad. So and I was like, what to do? Then the rest of the option were the private colleges, which were charging very high to get that same degree which NID could offer. And NID is the one of the prestigious college. Yeah. So I thought, let's do what to see. Then I same year, I think when you put your hard work somewhere, the result outputs come, right? So that year, 5 new NID opens up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and the one NID got activated in 2015 itself in September.
Okay.
So I gave the entrance in 100. I could not get qualified, but in 60 I got qualified.
Okay.
So I joined the batch with my other 60 batchmates, but we were 54 only. So from there, from the journey of after the class 12, I landed up as as a design student over there.
Okay.
But I think it wasn't any. If you ask the factor that why did I go to design college, I would say it was not about like me becoming a designer. I didn't even know that what design field is, and even in my area in UP, people hardly know about what is design itself. And if you ask somebody, they would say fashion design,
Yes.
because that is about
NID you could relate to fashion designing.
Right.
Only.
People would
Yeah.
know the same word from the from the design, they would know the same thing. So similarly from there it all started, and my only interest was solving the problem, which was my actual era. I felt I really like solving.
Which is called
problems.
product designing.
I think product design is a one way of solving that problem.
Okay.
It was the umbrella term would be a problem solving, and under that the method could be anything. Anything, right? So under the product design, there are also the other branches of the same department. So product design is itself is a one department. If I would have to say the umbrella term, it will be industrial design.
Okay.
Under industrial design, there are product design, there are transportation design, there are automobile. Automobile comes under transportation, and then ceramics, so on. So similarly,
many.
there are and currently, if you talk about the context of the today's talk, the product design, the digital product design, I didn't even know that term till even I was in the college. So it started. Foundation was there, and second year when everybody was working on this. We are supposed to do product design for like simple product design. We have to supposed to make a design project for 6 weeks. Everybody out of my 20 batchmates, everybody was making the tangible product. Means tangible product means which we can touch, right? Any product, like suppose we want to make a glass or make mic, those are the product. But it is simple product. And I was the only one who was working on like different since I chosen my area of banking or my interest of research area, and I found I was like lost what to do. So my faculty Andrea told me a solution could be anything. It could be a product, it could be a system, it could be a service.
Anything.
So you don't need to worry about that what the end product could be. Just go ahead with the research, go ahead with the pain points of the user which they are facing. And in the end I end up with a solution making a simple prototype app for senior citizen, which was like providing the banking facilities to senior citizen, and that was in like 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, 2016, and I made that. 2017 itself, in the newspaper it came, the RBI has launched a new feature by the nationalized bank that now banks can go to home and provide this banking facilities to the senior citizen, and that is chargeable. I think 90 rupees or something, or I think 300 something. I don't know. I last time asked, they said me a number. I don't remember. But yes, my intent was to solve that problem, and that problem that time I thought it may be superficial or something. Prototype which I made, it was very very, I think, naive. It was very raw, but the intent of solving the problem was right. Means the problem solving was exact on the point, and I did that.
Yes.
So later on, when I contemplating that after the 3 or 4 years, when I thought which area shall I go into, generally after 4th year everybody has to, in the 4th year they're supposed to go for internship for 6 months. In companies you have to apply. Everybody is applying for maybe some good company like Kohler, and it could be any furniture company or some other, since it's industrial design, and everybody was thinking where to go and where to apply, and everybody was applying. Few people knew that where to apply and where to go, but I didn't. I had a confusion what to do.
What helped you with this?
I actually did one thing. In college library, there was one book called Young Designers. Every year, the designers who are graduated, their projects and their names are there. So I found a 2014 booklet. I started connecting with starting mailing the seniors, and out of that 1 or 2 senior replied, and they were really kind of them that they replied, and one senior told me connect with this person who works in Google, and I was fortunate enough that I connected him on LinkedIn, and he replied. So, and it's a good thing that people are humble and they replied on that part. And once they replied, so I asked him, I'm so confused where to go, what to do. Can you help me with that? So he gave me a very pretty good suggestion. I mean, it would be helpful for the people who are in college, that whenever if you are in fourth year, you could go back to your own old design projects which you have worked
Okay.
and just see the patterns, what kind of problem you are able to solve. So
Okay.
out of 7 design projects, I was like having 5 digital project itself in the entire solution, and I never thought of that I will be making something like that, like a digital product. And that was like alarming. It was a good alarm for me to okay, wake up. This is
This is what you can do.
Yeah, I can do better in a digital product design. So I pick up the digital product design, completed my internship in Honeywell, and after that I land up in a job. So that that's how the journey was. So I think it was all connecting.
It was all
Dots,
connecting,
yeah,
yes.
dots were connected to each other, and it landed up to a solution where I could see that okay, this is ending up here. So that's my journey. And it started from college, school, and then picking up the college. Every time there was a panic button on me because I didn't know what to do next.
Yes.
There was nothing, no guidelines from there. And having seniors, I got into college because after connecting with the LinkedIn, on the LinkedIn. Otherwise, we were the first batch from NID Vijayawada. So we technically didn't have any senior. We were on our own, talking to our seniors, faculties who were come to teach, and the senior from the other college, NID Ahmedabad. So they helped, whoever helped, and it
Now
all
today,
got connected. Yeah.
yes.
So everything paid off, and now I'm working in a design industry, and I'm very happy that every day whatever I make, it serves to millions of people. Whatever we are, any problem if I'm trying to solve, it goes and it caters to the millions of people, and their lives getting easier. So earlier I was in Flipkart, and now I'm in Paytm and working over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you please brief more about your journey from your college life to your Flipkart and and I'm sure many more.
Yeah, I think that's the stage. The first stage is when we have to decide what to do with the college, where to go. That rush is there. The second stage comes up when we are in college, where to go, which domain to pick, which is the final destination that we want to, or which domain we want to go ahead with. That's a very question that we always have. Then the third stage comes when we have to go out of the college. Okay,
Yes.
which company, which place you have to go, and the fight is real, because if you see LinkedIn or any job portal, everybody says that they want an experienced person, even on the first go, like
Okay.
first job, like product designer, one level is opening or any job is opening, they expect some experience.
Is this after your internship?
Yeah, if you apply it, and even right now, my juniors are they are doing internship. They are applying at places. Everybody is, every company is writing in their JD job description that they need some experience.
Yeah.
And how a student who is just passed out can get experience?
Yes.
So that does not make sense sometimes. But parallelly in this universe, there are companies who have factors to have like, giving a job to the freshers. That like actually like many companies like Tata Elxsi is there, Microsoft is there,
Okay.
and people from the companies. there are various companies you can try, and people are hiring. Their campus selection also happens. So generally, prestigious colleges do have their own placement cell, but unfortunately, at that time when I was in college, the placement cell was not that much active because we were really new. So we had to do it all our own. And that time the process was we have to apply. So when the process of applying is similarly like we have to apply places, and they give you assignments, then you complete the assignment in particular. There's a duration like 2 to 3 days, and then you give the assignment back, and then they filter whether you're
Eligible or
eligibility is different. I think whether you're worth it or not to give a chance, because when you see from a person who is applying to a company, they see that opportunity as an opportunity to get into that job. But when a recruiter, suppose you're a manager, and when you look at that prospect from the other side of the table, for you will be like, how this person will add value to my team.
Okay.
That is what you want to see,
Yeah,
right?
that is very important.
Yeah, that's very important. It doesn't matter. Nothing. You won't be worrying about that. This is a fresher. He needs a job. Let's give him a job. No, this is not the you are thinking about that time.
It's very practical.
Yeah, it is very practical. You want to see how I will add the value in your team. So there's a two-way game. If you are able to complete that game, that entire process, you will be landing in the job, and job is yours, then you start working.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. Yeah.
How do you start and end your day as a product designer? And can you please also tell us what is the product designing?
Okay. First of all product designers are human. They wake up, they start their day, and they generally start with a timing. Suppose if you're working your team, depends on the team which you're working. If you're working with Indian teams, your timing start as usual. But if you're working with some international team, maybe US team or some other, depends on your team, depends on your company. So in that case, the timing varies. So people do have a different schedule. Like they tend to read something, they tend to work something. But generally, if you ask me, since I work with Indian IST base, so my timing, I mean, the days start with I generally first check my emails, what the emails has been there, and then my processes are, I mean, there are certain process has been defined by the team, so we need to follow all those processes. Suppose if any work is there and that I am supposed to do, so according to the process, I'll follow the work and that I'll complete it. And once that is there, then we have to take a follow up with that, because when you start working in industry, it's not about how well you do that, because it also comes a part that how well you communicate with your team. If you have taken a work, are you able to communicate with your product managers? Are you able to communicate with your design manager that okay, the work has been done or work has been going through that? So there are a number of trackers in the system like Jira or other platforms, so we also use to update on that. So all those things are there, and working schedule is there. Parallelly, there is generally one process. What we do in case, suppose there are focus time, we need to work on some design, because we are supposed to attend meetings to understand the requirement, then we are supposed to design something. In that case, I generally define my time. Okay, this time I'm blocking for my self work, and that time I won't be attending any meeting. So I'll be focusing on that. But if some meeting comes up which is very important to go and attend, I'll try to move my time schedule and to work on that. So I think that's the process for the entire day. It goes, and then since it's work from home nowadays, and so take a 1 hour break. I cook my food, and then I have my lunch, and then I go for a walk, then come back, and then having a fight with that strong sleepy eyes, and then again start working on it. Later on, then completing the work, and evening, if there is any sync up or something like that, we do that. Or else there is one more, I think depends on the team culture. So in our team, we have a good habit of sometimes we have a sync up like in a weekly sometimes. So we get all together and have discussion or chit chat, play some games online or do something just for a relaxation. It helps us a lot to bind as a team, and also whenever we have some bandwidth, we do that, because it's good to have. Because if you were in office, what you have to do, you have to just
environment is very important.
You just have to slide your chair and ask kya ho raha hai? So that's how you can ask, right? So similarly, when you talk about like work from home situation, in there you might feel the connect is not there, because my flatmate goes to office and then I alone both roaming around my house doing work, cooking food, eating, and that's how it is. So it's better to have a conversation with the people of my team, what is happening, what not is happening, and also the roles of the product which I'm working. I mean, definitely the design part is there. Sometimes you get that part where you have to lead that particular delta, delta means the vertical which we're working about. So the part you have to work on that, and might have to lead that. So having a conversation with your teammates or the people who are working under you, or you're working with, what kind of issue they are facing, how to tackle that thing. Because as I think I have read this thing somewhere, that every job in the world will end up into managing people. So you might be a very amazing designer, but you need to learn this skill of managing people from managing yourself first. So self-help books works. I read many self-help books.
Which book really helped you?
I think recently what the second time I read that book's called Deep Work by, I think Colport. Some name is there, I forgot. Please add it. The Deep Work is a book. I think Calport Newton something name is there. That guy. And it's a good book. It has a very nice understanding of how you can manage your time. Apart from that, I keep reading number of books, so it's a good thing. And in a day, then the question you asked, I think I would love to add one thing. that keep a separate time for yourself, whether it could be in between the office time, have some time, or else before time or the later, before office or the later office time. Dedicate some time to read about what is happening in the industry, what is new trends coming on.
To upgrade yourself.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
was
that
there.
is very
For me,
important.
my Instagram is LinkedIn, so I prefer to roam around on LinkedIn and read what is happening. Since I work in fintech company, so I keep reading about the fintech news, what is happening, what kind of changes has been came up, what the RBI, if RBI has introduced something new thing, I get to know. And otherwise, NPCI, UPI is a very big thing in our country right now. So NPCI, what is happening, I prefer to look into it and what kind of devices they have got in, I mean, the new in the market, or any new improvement, new updates. So I think it's better to keep updated from the news from the your department. I mean, if your domain is product design, so whatever the product design updates are coming, you should be aware about that. So keep reading
So it
about
gives you a drive to design something from your end, or is it a project that you have been given from your company?
Yeah, it's totally about generally the works whatever comes from the company, and we are supposed to take up the work and work on that. So every person in a company is I mean, they can choose depend on their roles. So as you grow in the company, you become very senior, then your job will end up into managing people, because I see my seniors, they are so occupied with meeting from morning 9 to evening 6 or 7. They are like managing people stuff meetings, and sometimes they don't even eat. So that's like they are so packed with the meeting and responsibilities. But right now I'm like it has been 4 years working in the industry. So I'm working as an individual contributor, that's called IC. So many companies also has this name called IC1, IC2 as individual contributor. So I do work individually, I contribute my work that goes to the team, and the team deliver the same product.
Okay. Okay.
So it's the work come from I think the company only.
From the company. Okay. People get confused when they plan to choose product designing. So can you please explain what is product designing, and what all things comes under product designing,
Okay.
and on what field, on what ground we should choose a particular designing?
Right. So let me give you a very brief intro about it. Product design is something, it's a field definitely, and people do confuse about it. Product, I mean, when I was in college, for me the product design was tangible product design. Whatever I can make, physical product design. If this mic is there, this is a physical product, and so this is a product design. And even if you go to other courses and search, it talks about more about a physical product design. But if nowadays, I think the time has evolved, people have started modifying the courses, curriculum. So there are two big, I mean, product design is a big umbrella. There are two verticals. One is the physical product design, one is the digital product design.
Okay.
The physical product design includes any product design like sharpener, watches, or table, anything. This could be there, and domains are different like furniture, automobile, like that. Digital product design comes where we are trying to solve any problem, and solve any problem through a digital media.
Digitally.
It could be a mobile app, it could be a website, it could be a SaaS software,
Banking, anything.
yeah, software as a service in any sector. It could be a finance, it could be banking, it could be automobile, it could be, I mean, any domain. I think every domain nowadays has a software part where you have to, I mean, which you can't touch,
Yes.
that you have to interact with. So you have to make the entire thing over there. So that's how it works totally. And product design, if I have to explain it how it is, what product design is, so basically it's a domain which solves the problem in a very holistic way.
Okay.
And it can be solved in a multiple format. I mean, it could be a solution. First of all, as I mentioned, I learned from my senior, solution could be a product, system, or service. So when I talk about product, so suppose when you're hungry at night 2 a.m. and you want to eat something, you can order a food. That was a requirement, somebody solved that, then Swiggy, Zomato came up,
Yeah.
and then you can order a food. That's a product that you can have it. And then there's something called system. So I mean, service, I mean, let's take example of service. System, I'll take the later. So service, anything like if you talk about agencies, mostly the service based companies are there, like Wipro has a company called Design.it. There's a very famous company called IDEO. I keep referring this company because this is a very intelligent people combined and they created a company called IDEO, where it's a service-based company where client goes with a requirement that, okay, I have my requirement, please solve my problem, and you you as a team solve the problem and deliver it to them.
Okay.
So once you deliver it to them, your job is done. And in case if they want any update, they can come back to you. But otherwise, your job is done, your payment is done, and that's it. So that's the service sector work. Yeah. So we were talking about like how is product design, right? So product design generally is more about solutioning, right? So in that case, people do try to solve this solution. I mean, try to solve any problem through various modes. One could be, I mean, a solution could be a product, system, and service. So I was just explaining that what is a product company, what is a service company, and similarly, service. I was talking about IDEO. So IDEO is a company. It's like a service company where it works. There's a particular team of UX designer, UI designers, motion designer, there's salespeople, all of us connected together, and they work on one project. They then deliver that to over there. I mean, deliver the product over there, whatever the client has asked for it. So service is mostly generally where a client approaches you and you try to give a solution out of it. And next level is the system level solution, which could be, let's take example. The bigger example is IRCTC. Railway is a very big example we can have. So tomorrow, if you get an opportunity to work with railway to solve any problem, suppose there might be a problem like a lady is traveling with a baby and she wants milk in the night. So how can she get it? Or if you're sick in the train, how can you get the medicine at the railway station? So if these kind of problem, if you have to solve it, then you might have to consider the ecosystem of railway. How would you solve that? The total technical part over there, you will be working with a system where you can contribute the solution, whatever the capacity you can with the best suitable option. And that would be the most important part which you as a designer will be playing over there. So to conclude, what is product design? So I would say it's a way of solving problem, and the mode could be, I mean, generally people take a different approaches. There's a design process followed up. People do follow the design process. After that, I mean, understanding, because you're solving for a user, you're not solving for yourself. You're solving for your user. If you have understand your user, there are particular needs and requirement that a user might have, then you might have to discuss those requirements, understand those things, go follow the design process, and then you come up with a funnel. So you can understand this like there is a funnel. On the top, all the data is coming. Research is there, design process is there. Ultimately, I mean, going through all the design process, you come up with a stage where you have to design solution. And that solution that I recently explained could be anything. And it could be depending on the scope sometimes. So suppose you're working in a product company and over there requirement came that your user is not able to log out this application itself. Then how would you design that? Would you want to keep it up front, inside, or totally depend, right? Why do you want to exit your user over from your platform? So in that case, I think the intent of the business, you have to understand how it is there, and then you have to do that. So these are processes over there. But overall, product design is more of a problem solving state area where you can solve the problem and give a better solution to a user.
To the problems.
Yeah, to the problem. I would say to the problem is better than, I would phrase it that to the user needs.
Okay, to the user needs.
Yeah, it's a way of giving a solution to the user's need, whatever the user has required. I mean, has a requirement that can be solved through a media.
Product design.
Yeah, product design. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is overall a product design. Yeah.
Okay. How can an aspiring candidate enter into product designing, and what are the key areas where he has to work on?
Okay, so I think you mean to say that what are the factors that a person could have which will let him or her to get into the product design, right? So I think see, there are two things. People who have creative inclination, sometimes they might end up like me. I had the creative inclination. I was in college and I figure out that okay, there's a domain like this, and I can do better because my inclination is problem solving, and I can do more better because most of the projects might end up in the design solutions, digital oriented design solution. So in that scenario, I may be guided through a design projects because I have been doing. So those were my, I would say, design
areas.
I would say the design mentors for me that at that time, because those has helped me to understand, okay, I can do better in the problem solving on a larger scale through the digital design. Okay, I mean a digital product design. But there are people who don't have such inclination, who don't understand this thing, but they might have a very curious mind. They might have a right set of mindset of asking good question, understand how it works. They can see the things through like what is happening on the layer, what is happening behind the layer, and they can understand how that total is working. So sometimes it's not necessary that you only, if you're from a design college, then you are supposed to do that. No, I know people in the industry who works with me and who have worked with me are from non-design field, and they are really really nice people and really a nice designer also. And when they do something, I mean I look up to them. It's like that only, because I see that the way they have build up their design process, thought process. And if I talk about a decade ago, the where the design was there at time, that time they used to the tool like Photoshop or Sketch to do something, and now we have so advanced tool like Figma to work upon. So there is a big gap has came up in the last 10 years, and people have moved from those people who are from non-design field has a very rigorous journey. I mean that time the industry, the market, even the colleges, the materials, the informations were not that much available that time. Even right now, if you talk about the influencers on YouTube, there are many influencers, they were like in the process of building themselves. So everybody has gone through that process, and there are many people from non-design field have doing very nice, because they have the zeal of understanding. They have the curious mind to what to do, how to do, and it's not only like you have to design something. Sometimes it's also about how critical you can think about it, how well you can think and approach your problems. Not problem, I would say it's a very generic statement to say a problem, but I would say how better you can think.
How creative can you be in solving?
Yeah, so I think in design there is a very one big term we talk about. It's called empathy. We talk about how you can empathize with a user. Suppose if I say the people who can't see, right? They have some issues. They cannot. If there was a TV remote and they want to listen to news or something, and they knew the channel number, but the keypad number they cannot trace it out. What will happen? So somebody thought, okay, what if we could introduce a braille? Then they thought, no, the production would be high or something. Then somebody said, okay, let's put a single dot on the number 5, such that they can understand this is center, and from left and right they can navigate the numbers, because there are 9 numbers and 1 0, right? So they can navigate easily. The people started understanding, okay, this is how the solution could be. So people have been thinking through various way. So I would say knowing the fact that you can empathize with a user, you can understand their needs, and you can do something, and that is totally relatable. If you are, this could be a big umbrella term to generalize the problem statement. Defining a problem, solving them. But if I categorize into a sector where one person who is already aware about this field, design field and product design field, and they want to enter, somebody who is like they are in the area where they want to move to some career where they have some inclination of problem solving and they have a little bit idea, and somebody who has no idea, like they might not even think of coming to this field. But if they have that kind of factor, right? So the point is, even the Ikigai says, right, what you can contribute to world, right? So if you can contribute your solutioning mind to contribute to world, so why not this field? This field is quite interesting to work upon. There's a day-to-day challenges are there, and product design is a so interesting field that if you get into this, you will get to know what is happening behind it. Suppose you're working in an e-commerce company, you would get to know how product is being shipped. For a user, how easy it is. If I need sugar, I can simply type sugar and
you get it.
And it will deliver next day or maybe in a few hours by Instamart or some other process. But nobody knows what is happening behind. Right. So who is working on that? There are people who stress those things. So I think understanding, having a curious mind and understanding what and how you can solve a problem will take you to this field. And if you have a little bit inclination of creative inclination, that is a plus point. If you know people do. I have met many people who have asked me this question. I don't know how to sketch. I am not good at drawing.
Okay.
How can I end up in design field? So first of all, this question comes up. I understand this is a generic question, and it's okay to have this kind of question. But the fact they need to understand that is to end up in a product design field where they can contribute as a problem solver and who will be making solutions. So you don't need to have a very artistic skills to make something sketch. Okay, that's not something. That's a like a 1% of the thing, right?
Yes.
Like for a surgeon who is a plastic surgeon, for him, making a surgery on your face is like, or making a, I would say, any treatment, if they do right, the treatment kind of do, it could be a 1 or 3% of their work. But what are the 90% of the work they do? So when an accident happens, they tend to stitch the veins, that kind of critical like hole they have in their hand, and they do a very critical job. So 90% of job they do saving life of people who are like met with an accident or something happened, and then the rest of the 10% or 7% comes for the cosmetic part. So even I was surprised to know when I came to know what the plastic surgeon do, because for me what I've learned from Ekta Kapoor is that changing the face, but that's not true.
Yes.
So in that case, I think similarly, you don't need know. I mean, if you know, that's a better thing. But if you don't know, any skill can be learned. That is first thing. And people who are like thinking to get into this field, I think the most important thing is that having a soulful mind and interesting approach towards your objective, that you want to you want to solve problems, and you want to dedicate your solutions in this sector. That, I mean, towards the problem that your user faces. And how would you capture this thing? Suppose your granny is at your home and her specs got broken, and you did some jugaad and made that thing. That is it. That is it. That's the solution part. You're doing it. You don't have to think so much of how would you do that. Will I become a chashma maker? No, man. No. Relax. You would be. It's a good way to do that. If the water is tapping in, this leakage in that. If there is a leakage in the tap, then if you can do something which can stop it, that's also a good approach.
That's also
and you would
designing.
and you would be very surprised to know that when we go for the entrance in NID, it's called DAT, Design Aptitude Test. After passing that, you go for a studio test and the interview, and then you get into a design college. The stages are there. So when you go and see the papers, exam papers of DAT, Design Aptitude Test, the questions are like that. So sometimes they ask the question that in the night, if the in the kitchen, the tap is leaking, the water is leaking. What the sketch 3 solution out of that. So sketching is a medium of expressing your idea, but it does not say that you have to sketch whole thing. Sometimes, there are people. Even when I was preparing, I heard from this thing from people that, oh, I need to have a very good sketching, how to make a body figure like that. But somebody told, no. If you know stick figure, how to make a stick figure in a proportion and explain what is happening, then that is also a nice approach of explaining. And if you go back to the old time where Mickey Mouse and those cartoons were sketch, if you go and see the sketches, they were very simple. I understand those are very good animators are making it, but the point is, if you know how to express your ideas, that is more important. More than enough. And inclination of his solving the issues, problems, that is the whole thing. I remember in school, kids are there who make good science projects and they end up in doing something else. But that zeal that you had in school of making something, okay, there's a science project, let's make volcano, let's make something else, whatever the concept you had, that was your call to know this thing. So today, if you're listening this and you are that kind of person, you might end up into this kind of area. You can consider this kind of area where you can do quick solutioning, because I know, because I was quite into this and I was very impatient about the long process. So I maybe at that time I was not able to think. Now I know why I run away from the research, but now I understand that impatient part of me was also USP of mine, that okay, that's give me a very quick solutioning part. I could be working in a sector where my solution can interpret it much faster. So if you have that kind of inclination, thinking those part, understand what is happening. If you have, like now we have IKEA, so people who love assembling products, they would be loving that. Okay, this is also, that's also a creative part. Do DIY. Do it yourself was the whole point, right? Even the cartoon, on the Pogo channel, when I was my school time, right? So there was a channel on Pogo. One series used to come, Mad, right? And the guy Mad, Rob, who is he? He's from NID itself. The guy,
Okay.
yeah, is our senior, and that guy is very interesting. He created that awareness in that time, but after that, that kind of shows got a little bit away. I don't know what happened to TV, but that was a very good recall for us to do DIY, right? And now, if you see, there's so many platforms available.
Yes.
On Instagram, you can see, on Pinterest and on Google, everywhere you can get the DIY kit and do certain things over there. So I think it's a very interesting part. If you have even that zeal of doing DIY, understanding those things, or all those things. So I think these are the dots that you need to connect and ask yourself, can you do a little bit something which is solving on larger scale, in spite of, I mean, whatever you're working, maybe you're working and you're not happy, you think that you are built for something else. So maybe this field give you that
exposure.
Yeah, that exposure and that peace. For me, it's very peaceful for me to work every day and design solutions for millions of people, and that's so much. And it's very I sleep with a very good mindset. Okay, fine, I did this thing. So I think that's a good thing. One thing you can have, right? Have a good sleep with a good intent. So I am happy about that. And yes, I think people who are already in design college, they are aware about this field, or maybe if they will be getting aware about this field, that is nice. Another is who can get into this field, that is another. And there are also people from different engineering college who end up,
Doing something else.
if I talk about the parallel universe, I could end up into an engineering college because my parents wanted me to be in IIT and somewhere. If I would have cracked it, or maybe land up in any engineering college, I would have been at their place. But they might be creative, and not might be, they are creative. I have seen engineers, most of my engineer friends are doing something else out after their engineering, and only one or two friends are doing whatever they pick up there in engineering. So I think that's a very nice thing to do. If you have some inclination in that, and that would be a very nice, and you can try that field which can help it. So overall, the previous question we had, what is product design, right? So I would like to add one thing. Product design is a field where you can solve things at a large, massive number for the people, and it caters to users' need. You can do solutioning in terms of physical product design, or physical or tangible product design, or the digital product design. That totally up to you. It's just every solution is worth it. If you were thinking about healthcare is also very important.
Yeah, I think it's catering everywhere. It's spreading everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
And I would call it making people's life comfortable.
It is.
It's all about making their life very, very comfortable.
Very true.
Yeah.
I think the evolution of our understanding, right, has gone through that. If you remember a few years, 1 or 2 decades ago, we had alarm clock, we had torch, we had everything separate. If you have to carry all those things which a phone can offer, you might have to carry a separate bag for that.
Yes.
But now everything is in one phone. What is that? Is it an evolution?
Yes.
It's a mix of product design, the tangible product design and the digital product design. But how it came from a need,
From
right?
an idea.
Yeah. So understanding the user's requirement, that's the whole thing.
Okay. What is the financial well-being of a person who is just entering into this industry?
Right. It's very subjective actually. It varies from number of criteria, number of factors. So I think let me refer you one thing. I think one person in design industry has conducted a research on. It was like a kind of research where he asked the people just reply on what kind of salary you get. So that report, according to that report, it was, I think, in the last year he published that, and it's public now. You can find it on LinkedIn, where people talk about the salary part. So since you're talking about, are you talking about specific to design,
Product design,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So I think that's a good reference we can look into. So there are different kind of companies, different kind of depending on the roles and the experience, the payment are very different. So depending from where you're coming from, and it matters a lot. Suppose if you're coming from a proper design school, there's a different payment grade. Payroll is there. The grade is different. And if you're coming from a non-design field, that's also people tend to get I mean, I'm talking about the very starting,
Okay.
starting first salary I'm talking about, because there are people who are earning very well than the people who are working in industry, because they have proved their capabilities and what they can offer to the company. They are an asset, and so they are actually getting good amount of.
Okay.
So that's one concern. But apart from that, it's a categorization is over there. So if you're working in a small company with a product company, so the product salary could be from a different range. If you're working for, like, it could be start from 3 to 4 lakhs and go to up to, depending, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so it could go up to like 14-16 lakhs up to. So totally that is depends on how. Are you coming from design college? Are you coming from non-design college? Are you having any certification? Are you having, because I remember I got shortlisted for one company. During the onboarding process, they asked me, do you have any certification? I said, I have degree. They said, no, do you have any certification? So that is like total specific to the point that whether they having certification or not. So I think what they meant, okay, whether I'm working on myself or not, that kind of certification they want to look at. So nowadays there are so many certification comes up, but it's not like that only, but totally depends on companies to companies. So there are companies who are like very I would say the fine companies are there. Then we have separate small mid-sized company where you can consider top grade companies are Apple, Google, like that. Then we have separate product companies which are other grades, like you can consider Swiggy, Zomato, Paytm, different companies like that. And then we have a small startups, right? So they are like any new startup, like you can talk about Navi, you can talk about Jupiter. These are new startups, right? So these are like that. So depending on their areas, companies, depending mostly on the companies, they define the payroll, and the grade also define that. So if you're at the very very fresher, your payroll can define that. But as I mentioned, that product and service industry, they're two different domain. So itself the product I've explained it how it could be different. But if I talk about service based companies, so it's very different. Service pay a little bit less than the product. That's why there's a general trend. People who work in service, they tend to join that for getting experience. They learn a lot. They get a good exposure in the starting. Once they get, the starting first 2 years, you might have to learn number of things, because you have to get a grasp on your work. So they have a good grasp on that, and then they move to product company, and that time their whatever the compensation difference was there, that get compensated. So that's actually is an industry parameter. So HRs, whoever were taking your interviews are discussing these financial terms. They actually compensate depending on the company standards. That's how they do that. Yeah.
What advice would you like to give to a lot of viewers who are watching you, who are planning to enter into this field?
It's again subjective, depending if anyone is in design college and if anybody is non-design college. So I'll split in two part. If you're in design college and you're confused between which domain you want to, I would say I would repeat the same suggestion which my senior gave to me. Look at your design projects. Look at your design process, how you're thinking. If you are still confused, you can talk to your seniors, how your thought process is going. Your project will lead you to understand where you can end up. If you're in, like, suppose some other non-design college, maybe engineering or some other domain are there, then you can definitely think about your problem solving gene, how you look at into, because I'm pretty sure if you are learning software development or something, that's also itself a problem solving. It also includes logic and understanding. So it totally depends. I've seen people from software development moving to product design because they want to, and when they come, they have extra edge on us because they know coding and they know the design also. So that's a beautiful part of them. And the people who are from like total non-technical background, who are trying to pursue this career, so I think first key point would be having a zero understanding of curiosity to what you want to do. If you have some very curious mind, why this thing happened, what are the processes are there. If you use an application, try to think how you interact with your application. If you interact and that goes in a very, like, you have some question why it is not there, it's very frustrating, then you have some kind of zeal to understand it, because you as a user understand yourself, and that is itself a requirement first. Then second would be understanding your I would say what we do SWOT analysis, right? Strength and weakness. do that. I think that's a good. If you're thinking to change your career or still in a process of that, so I think it's a time to do that and understand your strength and weakness. You can categorize your strength and weakness in a sector, and you can think what I can do better. Because when we start doing that, maybe we start focusing on weakness, but start focusing on strength. Maybe if you're thinking too much, that's a strength, because it allows you to do critical thinking. And if you can do critical thinking, then you can think number of complex projects. The complex flows you can solve. When I say flow, which means a user journey, how a user will do something to achieve something, that I'm talking about. And another would be, if you are working, already in the process, if you're watching this, maybe there's a high possibility that you're already in the process of learning or knowing this field. So I would say, there's a plethora of material available online, Instagram, YouTube, and so on, and you will be tired to cover all those things. So I would say having a guidance would be better. So talk to some mentors, or get connect with the people who can help you to understand how you can end up, how you can plan your journey, what you need to read. There are number of books are there. You can start reading from there, because books are open for everyone, right? You can read. So there's a book called The Design of Everyday Things, by Don Norman. So that is like a very famous book. People can read about it. It's talk about a very small terms. Maybe a little bit it becomes overwhelming, because there are little bit design terms will be there, but don't worry about it. Terms are terms, but try to understand what the intent of the book is, and reading more about design would be interesting. Apart from that, practicing yourself with practicing yourself the knowledge that you have, and the understanding what in whichever domain you are right now. If you see this domain has some kind of opportunity where you can contribute, to start thinking how you can solve that thing. That may be leading to that. Suppose you're working in a HR field, and now you want to move to this field. You might know HR field is having this kind of issues. I can solve this thing by introducing this thing. That itself is it's a way of thinking. So having a deal of understanding, thinking, and having a process of talking out whatever the problems are there, and discussing with friends or people, that will give you a good understanding. And apart from that, the last thing I would say, read as much as you read, that would be there.
Read, yes.
Because books are there, books are available, internet is there. I understand reels are there are YouTube channels, there are videos. So whenever you see something, whenever you read something, try to make a note out of it. If you're using a phone, use your notes to write down all those things, because sometimes what happens, if you learn something, that would help you. Even that's itself a part of the learning. You get to know something, and you are documenting it itself is a one important part, because when you will end up in a job, you might have to do this thing for
might
every.
help you. You never know.
These are the small habits that will lead you to become a designer, because it's like you need to understand those things. Okay, I am these things, I do these certain things, because this defines me. Right? Suppose if I'm reading any news on financial on a travel trip, I found, okay, these are the travel tips I got from somebody, and these are the hacks. Saving a video is one thing, documenting is a separate thing. You know what are the hacks are there, so that you can try out. That would be nice. And read. There are so many things to connect with people.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you so much. It was lovely conversation with you, and I hope
Thank
people will get to know a lot of understanding and knowledge about UI and UX and product designing.
Yeah, that would be nice. Thank you for having me here.